Welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix, a Danny Glover approved podcast about Heroclix and Heroclix related content. My name is Kris Britton. This is episode 173, and let's go.
My stuff.
Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. Joining me in the studio today, we got my sexy ranch hand man, Kalder Ness. What's going on, Kalder?
Howdy there. It's going good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. It's been a whole week. Haven't heard your
Whole
voice.
week.
I know. We also have a guest on our show today. This is one of our active listeners, and we appreciate him coming on. Chad Lemoine, am I saying that right?
That is correct, sir.
All right, where are you hailing from, Chad?
I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I am currently watching LSU get beaten 17-0 by Troy at home on
sad.
TV. It's disgusting.
Okay, so
it's homecoming too, which is just all the better.
and you got kids,
So that's okay. Let's rock on. Yeah, exactly.
Let's do. We got some cool stuff lined up on the show today. We have an interview. Got a little bit of news. We're gonna play some Bad Samaritan. Gonna do some casual comparisons, value corner, all kinds of good stuff that you guys know us for. If this is your first episode of Dial H for Heroclix, because we are sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. and we were just put in their recent fan letter, or newsletter rather, I should say. It says, it's really nice. It's got our logo on it. It says proudly sponsoring, and lists out a bunch of different people. We're on the end. That's our sweet H at the end. Did you see it?
I have not seen it, but
Calder has.
I don't know if
He's
Calder
actually-
has.
Yeah, he's the one that sent it to me.
Okay.
So, if this is your first episode, we'll go through a couple of the rules of the games as we get to them, but that's later on the show. Let's start off with this interview. So, Chad, how did you get into the game of Heroclix? When did you start? How long have you been playing?
My baby brother, he's not a baby anymore, he's in his 30s now, but back in 2011, he was living in Mexico, and he'd spent several years as a missionary, and like basically couldn't own anything. We had all this stuff in storage, and basically kind of when he finished his tour, so to speak, of 7 or 8 years, he came back and pulled this stuff out of storage, and it was like a little starter box that he had from like 2005 or something. I don't remember how old it was, but it was old stuff, and it started off with us just playing with, put a penny in the middle of the map, and you had to run. Everybody picked a character. He always got the flash somehow, which made it completely unfair. And you just had to run to the penny, pick it up, and run off the map with it. And so Flash just destroyed us. We didn't play with powers. We didn't do anything. We didn't know what the game was or anything. And so, but I was intrigued by it because we had been playing Magic since the 90s, and it was just to see this stuff come alive on a map where, positioning and all the powers and everything else and all the interactions kind of came into play. It got us interested, and so we both started to dig a little deeper to try to find out where we could get more of this stuff, because as far as I knew, the only 10 figures that existed were the ones that he had in that little box. And I found some at Walmart one time. They were selling like old Justice League and Avengers 10th anniversary stuff, and bought tons of that. Had no idea what modern meant or anything like that. So I bought tons of this stuff because it was like $5 a booster. And I was just like, man, look at all the figures I have now. And then realized that none of them were modern legal or anything like that. And
when did you stop running for the penny in the middle of the map and decide to start learning the rules?
That was probably, he went back to Mexico, so it was probably the next summer. And I bought some Lord of the Rings stuff, and we played like this epic battle that it was him and my other brother, and they played. They were basically the Fellowship, and I had Sauron and the Witch King of Angmar and all these other folks on the other side, and it came down to it was Frodo with a trebuchet killing Sauron to win the game. And it was down to those two figures. That was it. And it was absolutely amazing. And so we started doing little themed stuff, and we'd acquired more stuff at that point, and started just playing. And we were just trying to learn the game ourselves, just to play with the two of us whenever we got together, the same way that we had been playing Magic, because neither of us ever played Magic competitively, had never played Heroclix competitively, had never even played outside of like our homes. And so 2013, Fear Itself was the first time I ever, like, I found a couple of shops here that were selling this stuff, and that's when they started telling me, oh yeah, we have tournaments. I was like, what? You have tournaments? And so it was just a whole new world for me, and so that's when I started. I think it was like month 2 or 3 of Fear Itself was when I first, kind of got baptized basically by the local HeroClix community, and it was rough early on. But I ended up finishing. I think I finished 3rd in month 6 of Fear Itself, and pulled down a White Lantern Batman and some other stuff. Came close to getting a Serpent, but didn't quite pull it off. I ran it was Odin and 4 Asgardian trolls in a full book. The split lip and all that nonsense. It was disgusting, but it was what everybody else was doing, basically. So
gotcha.
It was just a matter of rocking
Kalder, let's go back and forth on these questions, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. So, Chad, what are your favorite pieces and or combos? Piece combos.
Yeah. So right now I'm really trying to figure out something. I love the idea of champion pool, and now that we have the ability to TK giants, I like the idea even more. It's just that plain sidestep. It just makes it really, really tough without something like TK to get him into position without getting pinged from far away. Because I think there's some cool stuff with the comic panels to switch between ESD and combat reflexes and stuff like that to make him, because he's tough to kill if you play him right. And but it's just he's really easy to kill if you can't move him. So it's that's pretty critical. But I like a lot of those big tentpole pieces a lot of the times, especially not necessarily so much the ones that are really, really powerful on the alpha strike or attack, but I like playing a game where my pieces are hard to get to, hard to kill. I loved the Dark Flash. It was one of the ones that I thought was very underrated in that Flash set, especially back when the relics from what was it, Trinity War, the little sins. Yeah, you give him the Wrath where he's got, because he had a 0 range anyway, so Battle Fury doesn't matter. Well, now your shape change doesn't matter to me. And oh, by the way, I get sidestep and willpower, and that's the one thing that piece was missing. So love those. But I think one of my favorites, and I actually took this to, it was on my team that I used for Rocktober last year, was the 90-point Faust from was that from World's Finest or Superman Wonder Woman? Superman Wonder Woman, I think. Not Felix Faust. Not Felix Faust, but the roll 3 dice Faust.
If Drew is listening right now, he loves you. Just so you know, I love the crap out of that. Side question. So
it's a really good piece.
Yeah. So who's your favorite comic book character?
My favorite comic book character is actually Deadpool from the Marvel and DC universes, but my favorite comic book character outside of those universes is Spawn. I loved that story. I loved the whole. That was one of the.
You just lost
one of the few
as
things.
A fan. He hates Spawn.
He hates Spawn. That's fine. I liked it from the standpoint of the story and the torture that's involved there. It's tough. It's tough, but it's so real to watch someone go through that.
I love Spawn. I read the first 120 issues of Spawn. I couldn't get enough of it. So yeah. He's a great character.
Yep.
Great anti-hero.
Right, and I guess it's not surprising that I also love Deadpool. So because somewhat similar, just one of them's a lot more sad and angry in his tortured nature, and the other one is a lot more of a sarcastic, comedian So.
All right, so that's who you love. Who do you hate? Harley Quinn. All right, got it. Next question.
All right, cool.
Who do I
you
hate? What characters, comic book characters do I hate, or what pieces do I hate in this game?
Figures.
Both.
Jakeem Thunder and Jakeem Thunder. No, and team bases, I was never really like a big fan of. I don't know. I was cool to have that page in the book of Heroclix lore turn. Not disappointed at all. And it's funny. Goblin King is kind of up there, not because I didn't like I liked the piece because it was far more accessible than Jakeem Thunder. And in my opinion, even though I've heard a lot of people who disagree, they still thought Jakeem Thunder was better before they completely crippled Goblin King. But I liked the fact that I thought he was better. I mean, Power Cosmic and choosing powers that aren't limited like Jakeem Thunder was. It was worth the 35 points extra, and you didn't have to throw Supreme Intelligence and either Eclipso or Brainiac or whatever on him to get some of the other things that people were using to give to Jakeem. But what really frustrates me is to have that happen, and then you're looking at it because we're not going this October to the Rock, but we plan on going next October, saving up a little money and saving up some family getaway points. But because I don't know if my wife would like me doing that 3 years in a row necessarily, but I bought one, and not kidding, 3 days later is when the watch list came out.
Oh,
and I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. And so of course, at that point you don't want to turn around and try to get rid of it because it had already taken a hit a little bit, and who knows, maybe they could do with it what they did with Jakeem, which is nothing. But no, instead they decide to completely take him off well above the knees, and it's still a good piece, but I think the only way it's good now is at 75 points as a support piece with a moderate secondary or tertiary attacker kind of build. But Jakeem Thunder is tip of the top. He's a super rare prime to be that, and then for them to do nothing to alter him, it's very frustrating. I don't like when the meta turns into comic book characters that I hate. I don't know. I'm one of those people that, whether it's film or literature or anything like that, I think that every character kind of serves a role, and unless they're like super annoying and just useless, most of the time, even people, yeah. Okay. Fine. I'm not going to say Harley Quinn because I don't like. I get the whole, she's crazy and she's crazy and she's not hard to look at. So it's the kind of combination that I think a lot of people can relate to being drawn in by and suckered by. So I don't share the same animosity for Harley Quinn that you do, unfortunately. But no, I don't think I have any characters that I hate, because I think even if you root against someone, I think that the value of the character for the story still makes them respectable. So that's kind of my.
That's a really PC answer. You gotta.
I know. I'm actually kind of hating myself for saying it, but I really don't. I'm trying really hard to think of. No, I'm drawing a blank. I don't have a. See, I did pieces and I didn't even give any thought to this, so you're kind of putting me on the spot. Maybe if it's okay later on, if one comes up, I'll just blurt it out. Like,
yeah, that's fine. We're not
just
gonna rack
interrupt
your
us.
brain.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the next question.
Okay.
So meta or casual, player personally yourself,
Well,
and,
yeah.
what's your opinion? Okay, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's your opinion on the state of the
current
game?
meta?
Yeah. State
Well,
of the game.
you heard my take on Jakeem Thunder, so I don't think there's a whole lot of a surprise or a secret there. But no, as I talked about earlier, the way that I started off in this game, it began as casual, and it was just home games. But I'm a pretty competitive person in general, and I moved in that direction of meta and targeting pieces specifically for that reason. And then like I said, we went to the Rock World Cup last October. A great experience. I finished second in Louisiana in 2015. I would say it was a dirty team, but the teams that were in the top four were all. It was like one of them was Super Skrull. What's her face? Lydia Maller and.
Well, if you're going to a high-level competitive event, you're going to be using the stuff that's going to win you.
That's going to win? Yeah, exactly.
If you're the type of player to show up to a competitive event and be angry that someone is using the cheese that is currently the meta, why would you even go?
Right. So I'm not, and I'm not that person. But what I am the kind of person that. So my team was Kyle Rayner, and unfortunately I didn't know as much as I needed to know at that moment, because I just kind of like flipped that switch into getting serious and like really thinking about it. But I hate the idea of like net decking and just going on and seeing what people are, what the top. So I came up with, my team was it was Kyle Rayner with the Ophidian and the Orange Battery, but I had Abensur Prime as my if I had been smarter or net decked it, because one of the things that I thought of after the fact was, man, Despedara would have been cool, because that was before they changed the rules and made it to where you couldn't possess tiny figures. But Despotellus with a Dara, man, Kyle Rayner's got a 23 defense now. Good luck. And if you come close to him, you're gonna get poisoned to death by Despotellus, and you still have to hit that 20 defense to knock him out. And Kyle Rayner's got that stop click, and I have the Orange Battery, so you can't use Pulse Wave. Anyway, it's just I ended up I crit missed on a Superman, Trinity War Superman, and I got timed out. I had the guy beat, and I got timed out. So it was one of those things. But in October last year, I went with a completely different mindset. I recognized that things life-wise had happened to where I knew that I wasn't going to be able to devote the attention and the time to prepping a team and play testing it and then practicing enough. So I just went with the idea of having fun and recognizing that there was no chance I was winning the whole thing, and I probably wasn't even going to make it to the final cut. But I did. I made it to the to the semifinals or the finals? Made it to the semifinals. And my quarterfinals team was Scarlet Witch from Uncanny X-Men with the one that has she gives the little marker to. Anyway, she gave it to Faust. The hex. Well, no, this wasn't the one. This is the one from Uncanny X-Men, not the LE. So she gives but it is a hex magic marker. She gives that to Faust. So now all of his, I think it's 10
are crits.
Critical hits.
Yeah. Oh, I hope we didn't lose Chad. That's gonna make the interview part a little bit harder. Maybe he'll cut back in. We'll skip ahead. We'll go around.
Still there?
Yeah, I see he's still there in the Skype call. But we'll move on to the news real quick, and then hopefully he'll jump back in when we get something working. There's not a lot of news that has come out over the last week. The last article that was written by WizKids for the press room was actually September 7th. So what we did get this week, we got I think it's Titano maybe?
Titano. We got monkeys, man, or apes.
Monkeys, yeah. So you want to cover that, Calder?
Yeah, I can talk about Titano.
Sure.
It's actually really cool. So his highest point value is 275, and then it goes 175, 100, and then his 30-point Colossal Retaliation. So he's got 4 range, no teams, whatever. He's Colossal and Indomitable. Animal Brute Metropolis. I think that's the same keyword as the last one had. 2 traits, special speed power, and then a special defense. And the special powers are only on his Colossal Retaliation. So first trait is driven by anger and fear. At the beginning of your turn, choose an adjacent opposing character, or, if there isn't one, choose an adjacent friendly character. Make a close attack targeting the chosen character. That is cool.
Yeah, that means you can attack twice in a turn.
Yeah. Not only, so you get a free attack right away, so if you're already based up against somebody, which is awesome. And if not, let's say you're playing that Iron Man from the starter set and you just want to get him onto his good clicks, or if you want to start, doing the banner click thing, self-activate them, you can have Titano take a swing for free and just get somebody on a better click. And then second trait is climb the tallest building. Titano modifies his attack value by +1 when he occupies terrain of the highest elevation on the map that isn't elevation level 1. So it's a I have the high ground trait, pretty much.
Right, it's like King Kong-esque.
King Kong, yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Skyscraper.
I like it.
I hate it.
Oh.
Hey,
Can you guys hear me? I figured I'd just choose a good spot to. I didn't want to interrupt Kalder, so I just.
Gotcha.
I figured I would. No, I don't know if I hate it. I just for 30 points. I see what you say about if you want to knock the. I hate the fact that Iron Man with that top click exists. Because why would I want to waste a click on anyway? Why not just start him off like that? I don't. Anyway, so the Titano. 30 points to potentially. So I like to use Colossal, the Retaliators, to carry. And this basically eliminates that possibility. Because if you're trying to carry somebody out for positioning, you have to attack them the next turn. Unless somebody's dead. Or you can sidestep away from after you're carried. Anyway. I like, there are a lot of the other ones that I like better than this one. But, and even like the 275, I don't know, 275 for invuln and 18 defense with the charge quake. I know the new quake is better, but
so I have a question
that's
about
just my 2 cents.
The sculpt itself. So if you're clicking down on HC realms, you look at the sculpt. Only the P, which is the Colossal Retaliator click. Sculpt has like green goop coming out of his eyes.
Oh, the laser eyes?
But the other 3 sculpts
oh, yeah, you're right.
are just like Titano, so I don't know which one is the real one.
He might come with an alternate head. The original Titano had an extra head, so I assume.
Well, that's cool.
It's just like the same thing. That would be cool. Yeah. I'm probably the only guy that went out of his way to buy the original.
So if you hit that stop click, do you have to take his head off and switch it?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, it's in the rules.
I guess you do.
That should be in the rules. Like Colossal Retaliation SWAT, and it should be at the end. Switch his head or you forfeit the match.
Okay, but what his Colossal Retaliation does do is, it's the whole free action, no other Colossal Retaliation powers when activated this turn, choose an opposing character, blah, 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 damage to friendly characters in last turn, place him such that he can make a close attack targeting the chosen character, and also target all other characters adjacent to the target. Here's what he does, it's cool. Hit characters are each dealt his printed damage value instead of normal damage. His attack generates knockback. Modify Titano's attack value by +2 if the original target has the fight symbol. So that does at least give him a 12 attack for Colossal Retaliation if they're flying.
Yeah, then again, but it does say every other character. It doesn't say opposing. So then you're still in, depending on what's going on in the match at that given moment, you could be hitting your own guys. So you're going to have to do some positioning before you
that is true.
Before you jump out there.
I think this character's flavorful, but I just don't think he's good.
I'm with you there. And I like like what Kalder was saying. I do like the elevation. Climb the tallest building, the +1 to attack if you're on that higher level, highest level. That's I guess so. This is only if you're not on a flat map. Basically, if you're on the highest level, then you're good. But if you're on a map with no elevated terrain, then he doesn't get that +1 just because he's on level 1.
Well, so
because it's the only level of elevation.
Play him on his 30-point click, and then your opponent, all they have to do is make sure that they don't attack from the highest thing, and it'll make sure that trait never.
That's
triggers.
a pretty good. Yeah, but that's actually a pretty good defensive posture though, because if you can make it to where your opponent is thinking about not getting on elevated terrain to snipe you, that's actually pretty good. That part of it, I don't think is bad, especially because you're at 13 attack at that point. If you're attacking a flyer that's on the highest level of elevation, and what are flyers most likely going to do? They're going to be ignoring elevation and going up to elevated terrain to get at you. So that part of it I like, but I'm with you. I don't think when you look at all the Colossal Retaliators that are out there, and I think it gets to the point where whether it's Surtur or Carnage or Mangog, there's some beasts out there that are absolutely busted, and this one's just kind of cool.
I don't get. So in the wording of the power, it actually says this attack generates knockback.
Right.
Why does it say that when the new Thor and the new Hulk that came out for the Thor Ragnarok movie just say knockback?
Knockback.
The all caps at the beginning.
Yeah, like this is the exact kind of inconsistency that we harp on.
Yeah, and I can tell you probably why. It's because these are the con exclusive or whatever, the LEs. This is the same kind of thing that happened with a lot of the LEs that were coming out. They're typically behind this stuff for whatever reason. They put this stuff out far enough in advance.
What you're saying
or
is
put it into production.
Like 3 years
they made
ago.
Well, I don't know about 3 years ago, but long enough ago that it was before, because they didn't have all of this wording done the same way on even the Avengers Defenders War stuff. So even if they made it back when they were making that stuff, it's still it's not all gonna be consistent with what the Mighty Thor set looks like, because it's just like the Punisher van that has all the old card and all that stuff, and it came out basically at the same time that they were coming out with all the stuff with the stuff printed on the card. And it's like, why is it the dial on the back of this card?
All right, do you guys have anything else to say about Titano? No? Okay. Let's go back to the interview portion, just to wrap that up, and hopefully we won't lose you again, Chad.
Yeah. Nobody wanted me to get to my really cool story where I told about how when I got to October for the semifinals, I played a team of all mermaids. Because I knew I wasn't. Yeah, Lori Lamaris and a bunch of mermaids and a couple of trenches, and obviously I won the map, so I got the Atlantis map, and they all had plus. I don't even remember all the stat, but it's like +2 to attack, and then there's stuff with their speed, and anyway, it was funny. I had a guy that he played. So this guy ended up finishing top 8, but when we sat down at the table, he just starts rubbing his head and like taking his hat off, and he was gripping. It was funny because he's looking at he's got this Krang team with it was Krang and Jean Grey and Baxter Stockman that heals him and everything, heals robots, and then what's his face, Justin Safrid. And so, but he looks across at my team, and he's just like, I don't even know what to do. But here's my rookie super competitive mistake. He asks me, he's like, so basically, if I what did he say? He said, if I kill any of them, then I take unavoidable, or I take penetrating damage or whatever. And I said yeah, as long as she's on the map. And that was the mistake.
You showed your hand, man.
Yeah, I know. And so now my brother and I have talked about it. So now the reply is always, here, you can read the cards.
There you go. Let them mess up on reading the card.
Right, exactly. So it's just that's but that's one of those things that you have to learn the hard way so that you learn it really well. And I did, but it was cool. I also had tons of people coming up behind my opponent and just giving me the thumbs up, I'm so proud of you for just playing that team here. I got the little Isaac Pog as like a fellowship prize for it. I love that whole experience. My brother and I talked a long time about other people go on like hunting trips and fishing trips where they like go away for the whole weekend and their family doesn't, nobody bothers them. But we try to play at home, and it's this kind of, are y'all still playing? How long are y'all going to play? And so we were just like, you know what? This is going to be our fishing trip. We didn't eat any worms, Calder, sorry, but
oh man,
we
disappointed.
But
if you're not eating worms, you're not living.
I know, right? Yeah.
True.
But so that was basically our fishing trip, so to speak. And so we're going to take a fishing trip every couple of years now. And
here's a quick question: what is your favorite named keyword?
Ooh, favorite named keyword. Crap. Why? Let's see. Shield, because it usually means that they've got the shield team ability, and I love the shield team ability.
All right.
It's just for for the purposes of just pure keyword Heroclixness. Yeah, that's because I just love that team ability. I love adding to range, and then if I need to and have the actions to be able to boost that damage a little bit. So,
Calder, you want to bring us home with that last question?
All right. What venue do you play at?
So
your home turf.
Yeah, currently we've started. We had a couple of venues that we used to play with when I first started. That's when I was playing Fear itself twice a month once at each venue. It was great, and for whatever reason, our community has kind of died off, and we're trying. A few of us that are left are trying to revive it, trying to get some of the people back in, and we're trying to kind of flavor it up, make it a little more fun. And right now we're playing at a place called Little Wars here in Baton Rouge that, and they've been really cool. They did not. They were not a place that was a venue for the game before, but we approached them. They do a lot of the other game, tabletop games there that are more figure driven, not so much Magic and any of that, Yu-Gi-Oh and all that stuff. So there's a lot of what is it, Battle Bowl or the Blood Bowl, whatever the football game that's like Heroclix for football.
Yep.
They do that, do a lot of Warhammer and that sort of stuff, D&D and everything, and so we're trying to revive the stuff there, and it's actually catching on pretty well there because it's something that those folks look around and they see what we're doing, and we've actually run into a few people who used to play and now they're looking at what we're doing and they're interested in getting back in. So it's pretty cool.
Well, once you get them
get it back going
in to playing Heroclix on a regular basis, make sure you tell them to start listening to this podcast.
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt whatsoever.
All right, let's go back to the news. That was weird, but
okay. Yeah,
I
know. Sorry about that. Technology.
The newest set, or the set that is coming out soonest, is going to be Thor Ragnarok. It's kind of odd because they've only spoiled 2 figures from it, and it comes out in 11 days. It comes out on the 11th of October, and there are 15 figures, one of which is a chase, and that is going to be Fenris. I'll talk about him in a second, but overall, what do you guys think about the set since we know all of the figures in the set?
I'm really interested to see what Odin and Grandmaster do because whichever Odin it is, the 11 or 14, but Grandmaster also, those two different versions. And Heimdall's usually pretty cool. I'm thinking, in terms of like board control and that sort of stuff, because I think we have with your Thor and Loki, you're typically that it's going to be, hey, I'm going to run over here and throw something at you or punch you with it. With those other guys, especially Grandmaster, I'm expecting something that should be pretty interesting board control wise, and that sort of stuff appeals to me. I love board control pieces that bring a different flavor to the game and kind of change the way people think.
Calder?
Yeah, definitely. I'm super disappointed we're not getting a Carl Urban Scourge, but I can get past that.
Why did they not make that? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I have no idea. They obviously had plenty of room to double up on quite a few people. So.
Right. I think there are like 5 people. What is this? The What If set for
this movie? The remix.
We're gonna do 3 sculpts.
Yeah, we were right. There are going to be 2 Thors. There are going to be 2 Hulks. There are also going to be 2 Odins. In the additional dial information on the evidence thread, it's looking like we have 2 different unique figures that we know of, one of which being Odin, the other one being Grandmaster. And one of that unique Odin is 25 points. What?
Guess
Why
we
is
need,
there a
like,
25
Hobo
point?
Odin.
Oh,
See-
it might be Hobo Odin. I hope it is. I hope that catches on. Everyone calls it Hobo Odin.
I'm sure it will be here.
What
Yeah.
I was hoping, and this is just complete conjecture, but what if we got a 25 point possession Odin,
What's this? Ah.
right? Because it's
Okay.
like the Odin power.
Yeah,
The
Jakeem
Odin
doesn't
Force
need any more
more?
help.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He
Seriously?
does not, but it wouldn't be. I mean, it's not something they're getting rid of. The possession mechanic, they're not
No,
getting
right,
rid of
right.
it. So I think it would be cool to have like an Odin Force possessor.
That would be actually pretty sweet.
I don't
Yeah, that would be pretty
know,
cool.
but it would be cool. Okay, so when I was a kid, I loved Norse mythology. That's probably the reason why Thor is my favorite comic book character. And I used to be one of those kids that would go to the book fairs, and then I would have my parents buy me the mythology books. And in all of the mythology books, it's not Fenris, which is Loki's son, by the way. But Fenris was called Fenrir, and I had to look this up because I was so confused why, like, Odin has the same name, Thor has the same name, Loki has the same name. So why did they change Fenrir to Fenris? And I looked it up, and this is a fun fact. So another name for Fenrir is Fenrisulfur. And so they just shortened it to Fenris, I think.
Huh.
They thought it sounded cooler, I guess. I don't know. To note, though, about the chase is that he's not a giant, which...
Disappointed. Super disappointed.
I think that this indicates that this is early on, because in Norse mythology, when Ragnarok occurs, you have Fenrir that eats the sun. So, in order to eat the sun, he's got to be large enough to do so. So, and then in the trailer for the Thor movie, you see him lunge at Hulk, and Hulk catches him by the jaws, and he's huge. Like, he's bigger than Hulk. So, I was wondering, like, why didn't they just make him the giant size? But they didn't. He does have Indom, but I really can't wait to spoil that figure. I think it'll be really cool. I hope it is.
So I just looked at it. There are 8 figures in this set. 8 characters in this set. There are
Yeah.
there are 15 figures though. So it's 7 characters that have duplicate figures or duplicate versions, alternate versions, whatever, and then Fenris Wolf.
And one
That's
of
it.
them is Hobo Odin.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
They say Hela is under the confirmed figures, but I'm like, there's no room for Hela in this set.
Yeah, unless she's a second chase, but they usually only do one chase for I don't know because they had what's his face they had Nebula and Yondu for
movies.
the
Hobby
Guardians.
and mass market
but
chase and whatnot.
I'm guessing from the way things have gone recently, are they doing mass market anymore? I don't know. Or did they just not do mass market because Wonder Woman was a comic set and it wasn't movie related? Even though it came out at the same time as the movie.
I know I hated having to drive to Target just to try to get certain figures because you could only get them at Target.
Right.
That was dumb. I mean, I like Target, but I don't like driving to Target for that purpose.
Yeah, well, not only that, but you're guaranteed to have no hope whatsoever of, there are a few of the shops around here that we get stuff from that if you get 10 gravity feeds or 5 gravity feeds even, they'll do like 5 gravity feeds for $10 or something. Well, good luck doing that at Target. Those 5 gravity feeds will cost you $17. So.
Okay, so that's pretty much all that we've got for the Thor Ragnarok set as of this moment. So here in a couple weeks when it drops, I'm sure all of the figures will be up, and we'll cover what we can. Due to time constraint, we're probably not going to do all of them. But last thing in the news section that I've got is, and this is just a quick thing, I cannot remember if we actually said this when we were talking about it last, but Star Trek is actually going to be modern legal. Not sure if we covered that or not. So,
Hey, Star Trek. Hey, awesome.
So all the fans.
Are we just moving into that realm now where from now on it seems like every set that they release is going to be modern legal? I mean,
Why
it
would
seems
it be?
it seems I always thought
money.
it was silly. Yeah, I always thought it was silly that they had like these different rules for like the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff that made it to where you couldn't play them together because they have all these trap mechanics and all this other stuff that like if you aren't playing that stuff together with the same stuff, it makes it kind of, or like the epic actions and all that stuff with the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings stuff. There's some of those things that if we've heard you guys talking plenty over the years about the playtesting deficiencies that seem to exist. Well, they certainly hadn't play tested that stuff, against each other, but it seems like they're moving more in the direction of allowing.
Let's leave it at this.
For that,
I am willing to keep an open mind and hope that they are.
Yeah. Right. It makes no sense to do it any other way, honestly, for the purpose of not confusing the nonsense out of people.
All right, let's play the greatest game in the history of America. Everyone knows that.
America. Yes.
Bad Samaritan. If this is the first episode of Dial H for Heroclix that you are listening to, Bad Samaritan is a game where we have a random number generator, 20 clues. Calder's going to give me a number. I'm going to give him a clue about a figure. And basically, there are 3 rounds. Each player gets 1 guess per round. And at the end of 3 rounds, if they've guessed the figure, then they win. And if not, then I win that round. So, Calder, will you give me a number?
I absolutely will. And that number is 4.
You say 4?
4.
Okay, 4 is set number. And the set number is going to be 11.
So we got a common.
Yep.
Seems that way, unless it's a gravity feed set, but most likely it's a common.
Disclaimer, every figure chosen is a modern figure. We do not go back into Golden Age for this game.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not going to say, is it Batman?
It's always
That's always such a good answer.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not wasting a bullet on that. I'll let you go first, Calder. I'm gonna.
Yeah, all right. I'll go with let me see, like a common. Who'd be a weird common? I think I'll go with the Rattler. Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's Rattler.
That is very random, but this is not the Rattler.
All right.
That's not a bad guess, though. I'll give you that. No cheating like you did 2 episodes ago.
No. Oh, come on. You guys are killing me.
At home, if you would like to play along with us, go ahead and pause the podcast, think about what your answer might be, press play, see if it is, and keep moving on through the rounds. Chad, do you have a guess?
I'm gonna stay in the same set, and because I don't know if Rattler was. I'm gonna go with was it Spider Girl?
It is not Spider Girl. Calder, give me a number.
All right. 18.
18 is a free play, so you can choose any one clue that you would want about the figure. It's things like set, generic keyword, name keyword, trait, name of trait.
I think given the fact that we have set number already, I think set would not be a bad
set
route to go.
I was going to say.
Okay. The set is going to be World's Finest.
World's Finest 11.
Totally off with the Spider-Man guess, but okay. World's Finest.
Black Lightning?
You know what the set is now. Black Lightning, is that your guess?
Yeah.
It is not Black Lightning.
I'm pretty sure Black Lightning was in Joker's.
Well, no, didn't they have a Black Lightning in World's Finest?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
It's like a running shot Pensai guy. I don't remember. That was like so long ago.
Yeah, that was so long ago, and I didn't buy any of that set. So yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Justice League Trinity War. Dang it, that's stupid DC mix up. My bad. That was Justice League Trinity War. There wasn't a Black Lightning in World's Finest.
All right.
You're correct.
I'm gonna go with 11. It's probably not a generic. I don't think. What were they? They were like mystical stuff. I'll go with The Apprentice. Pretty sure that's what one of them was.
I think Apprentice was an uncommon though. I don't know for sure.
Okay. Maybe.
but I'm not positive.
Is there like a druid? Right? There's like a beard guy. He was a swap out for somebody else. Final answer is druid. A druid for this.
It is not the druid.
Okay. All right.
Give me a number.
10.
Number 10 is name of special power, and he does
Please
have a
special.
special power.
Sweet. There we go. All right.
Lunatic
Bring it.
Laugh.
Oh, that's
Is that the guy? Blackfire Thorn?
No.
Or is he?
No.
He was
It's,
he was an uncommon.
I really want to say it's the green-haired guy. I can see him, but I can't think of his name.
The green-haired guy.
The green
Creeper.
hair.
Joker.
It's the Creeper, right? No, not Joker. Creeper. It's like Creeper or Jeepers Creeper, something like that. Can't remember.
Jeepers Creepers. That was an old
like-
movie.
It was.
Yes, you are right. It is the Creeper.
Is it Creeper?
Zero
Nice
Yes.
word.
Creeper.
Nice
All
word.
right, you
Creeper.
win this
All right.
round, but we have 2 more rounds to go. I think I can pull this one off.
Okay.
All right, give me a number.
Number 12.
Number 12 is any special combat symbols, and no, not a single one.
Awesome.
Wow.
Nailed it.
Wow. Okay, no special combat symbols. Thug.
It is not Thug.
I will go with.
I'm still over here laughing. The green-haired guy?
Hey, at least he got it.
You got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, come on, don't. I'll go with, just to keep it in the Serpent Society, I'll go with Black Mamba.
It is not Black Mamba.
Alright. Next number, here we go. 18. So,
Free play.
free play.
Free play.
We go set again.
Want to go set
or-
again? Yeah, because the other, at least set, we know there will be an answer there. If we say trait or anything like that, there's a possibility that there's no trait. So I'm good with set.
Okay.
Set it is.
The set is Uncanny X-Men.
Okay.
Uncanny X-Men.
And no special combat symbols.
No
So
special
no endom.
combat.
No endom.
I'm gonna get this one. I can feel it. It's in my bones.
Is this our last clue?
No, you have one more.
No.
Oh, wait,
You
we
have
have one more.
more.
Okay, good. All right.
I'm going to go with John Greycrow.
It is not John Greycrow, but I'm pretty sure that we have used him on Bad Samaritan before.
Okay, dang, alright.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I want to say Riptide, but then
Would you use somebody we just talked about like 2 weeks ago?
yeah, I was gonna say that's what I was saying. I don't want to go with your what was that? Which one was that one? That was the value corner that you used
Value
that one for. Yeah.
35 cents. Cool Stuff Inc.
Yeah. Let me. I think there was a storm that like the Free Smoke Cloud storm that didn't have flight. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just gonna say storm, even though it doesn't make sense that she would have no combat symbols. I think he's throwing us off, so I'm gonna go with that as a counterintuitive response.
All right, it is not Storm, and I'm just checking real quick to make sure that those storms do have flight. They both do, just for
They do.
future.
They both do.
course.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Alright. We got 18 again. You want me to?
Okay, what is your?
Well, Name keyword maybe.
Name keyword would definitely help.
Yeah, that would help.
Okay. Let's go with. Ooh, I have choices. Let's go with Hellfire Club.
Hellfire Club. Alright.
Emma Frost.
Is that your guess? This is the last guess for this figure.
See now.
Now you stress everybody out saying last guess.
Now I don't know if you're trying to get me to change it because I have it. Or
I
if,
don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm gonna say yeah, that's it. That's mine, and I'll let Kalder.
Awesome.
pull it out from there if I'm wrong.
Calder, what's your guess before I say yes or no?
Oh, okay.
Slam dunk.
I see how we're playing it. Wasn't there a chick in the comments who had a really weird haircut?
Do you only look at the haircut of the sculpts?
He's got green hair, and this chick has a really weird haircut.
That's what I remember the most. Yeah, I know. She was sort of like an Emma Frost looking lady, but it was like really weird, like really like short and like Phoenix Wright styled back, like flaring. What was her name though? It was Lady something. She's a lady. Like she is a lady, but I mean it was Lady something.
Yep.
She might not even have Hellfire Club, but
I got nothing.
Mastermind's what it was. Lady Mastermind. So it was Emma Frost.
Oh yeah, I remember her. Yeah, I remember Lady Mastermind. Yep.
Damn you, Kalder!
Yeah. Oh.
All right, it is 012 Lady Mastermind. Man, Calder, you're
wow. Holy cow! You and your hair studies.
He just sits at home and just looks over.
Yeah, no, it's weird though, because
So now I know how you switched that one from across court the last time you got on the first clue. You just channeled haircuts as soon as he.
I'm going to exclusively choose figures based off of having normal haircuts from now on. That way Calder can't get it.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move on to the third figure. Give me a number.
All right. 7.
7 is generic keyword, and celebrity is the keyword.
Ooh, a celebrity.
Dale Suderman.
No. Who did you say? No is the answer, but who did you say?
I said Dale Suderman. That's the Superman who plays basketball in the Elseworlds set.
All right then. Nope,
not
that guy.
I thought it was Sunderman. There is no N. It is Suderman. That's so weird. I've been saying it wrong. Wow. All right. Celebrity. Hellcat.
It is not Hellcat.
Okay.
But I will say that I do like the actress who plays Hellcat, or will play Hellcat, in the Netflix series.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah. Next number.
She didn't get much in Defenders. All right. 18. Sweet. Free play.
Really? You've gotten that number 3 times.
I say we go set again. It's
set.
Yet to prove us wrong.
Yeah, that's true. It's led us down the right path.
Okay. This is going to be the Avengers and Defenders War set.
Celebrity.
Hey, who else was a celebrity besides Hellcat in that set? All right, so.
Wow, that weirdly made it harder. It would have been a lot cooler if it had been a different set.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, this person has normal hair, so there's no way that Calder's going to get it.
It's certainly not Black Panther.
Yeah, no.
He's in hiding.
Jessica Jones or Danny Rand or Punisher or anybody like that. So who would celebrity? Who are like the? There's Ben Urich. He's not a celebrity. Karen Page. A few other people.
Oh, wait. Foggy Nelson.
Oh, he might have been. You going Foggy Nelson?
It's not Foggy Nelson. Last clue.
Dang it. I was going for President Foggy Nelson. I figured maybe.
That is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
What's your number?
I haven't guessed yet for this round.
Oh, you haven't? Wait.
No,
he hasn't.
All right then.
He was
in memory.
I was thinking about things. I was thinking out loud.
Yeah, he guessed Hellcat the first clue. So.
I need to buy more of these sets. Let's go with I don't know, Gargoyle.
It's not Gargoyle.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Last clue.
All right. 15.
15 is opening defense power, and it's going to be super senses.
This is from Avengers Defenders War, right?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, because the the What If set had all kind of weird celebrities, Spider-Man, Daredevil,
yeah.
Stupid. Anyway,
I will say this: all of the clues, I think all of the clues that I gave you are applicable to Hellcat, so Hellcat was a good answer. It's just not Hellcat.
Oh man.
Well, I'm glad we wasted Hellcat early then.
That is true. Yeah.
We won't be tempted to go there this time. A celebrity with super senses. I don't know. What about the Throne Daredevil?
Man, would he be a celebrity?
I don't know.
Daredevils get celebrity keyword like normal Daredevils? I don't think.
No, not. But I'm just. I don't know. I guess the What If set has like made me like think weird people should be celebrities.
My brain. I can't think clearly.
If you get this one as well, Kalder, and sweep the game tonight, that'll be crazy. And I'm gonna kick you off the podcast. I'm just kidding.
I'm out of work. You gotta get started with the podcast now. No, let me think. For some reason, I want to think Danny Rand might actually have celebrity keyword, but I don't think he does. Maybe the Netflix show is making me think he might.
Yeah.
I'd be way easier guessing politician. There's so few of them. I'd be like, oh yeah, Kingpin, politician, easy peasy. Celebrity super senses, Avengers Defenders War. Ah, man.
What about what's his face? Batroc or Batrosh or however
he's got combat reflexes, top style.
Oh, reflexes. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like this last round. Let the people answer. Everybody answer before you tell. So
pretty much.
We should stick with that. That's good.
Man.
I got.
Am I gonna take this round, guys? Are you gonna give it to me?
I really don't want to give
possible.
it to him.
I don't. But I don't know. I don't even know where to go.
Wasp. She's a celebrity. She is super senses, 19 defense. Wasp. She's a fashion maker, right?
I think Kris.
Right?
Kris might kill you.
Did
she's fashion?
Hold on. Did Chad? Did you choose this round?
Oh.
I have not chosen yet. No.
It's killing Kalder. He's like, just tell me it's the Wasp.
Yeah, and just in case, because Kalder so far has been the linchpin of this whole thing, I'm gonna go with Iron Fist just in case it's Danny Rand.
I will tell you, it is not Iron Fist.
Okay.
And neither is it the Wasp. I totally went
around. What?
And the worst part is, you guys actually already said it, but you didn't guess it. It's Karen Page, number 27. Karen
It is
Page.
Karen Page.
Gosh.
Dang it. It makes no sense that she's got celebrity and Foggy Nelson doesn't.
Right?
But, well, that's okay.
She doesn't have reporter. She has celebrity, but not okay.
All right. Well,
Wasp does have celebrity and super senses.
I give up. All right. Well done. We still got 2 out of 3 though, Kalder. So we're good.
Yeah. Hey, 2 out of 3. I'll take it.
All right. Well, you can.
You did it anyway.
Make it up for losing that last round so badly, Kalder.
Aww.
Let's get in the car. Let's take a trip. Let's go down to.
Thank you.
The value corner.
Value corner.
So,
right.
Sell me a figure, Kalder. Sell it to me.
Sell you a figure. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go way back. This is putting the Silver Age corner value here.
Love it. Probably something
back.
I've never heard of before.
I most likely. So what I'm gonna say is you got Outsiders. Outsiders team ability is an amazing team ability. Got 0 range, no special combat symbols. Coming in at 63 points, since I like odd point values. Love those so much. Special speed power on his top clicks, got 5 clicks of life. Can use support. Boom. Keeping it simple, just straight up support. Oh, by the way, he's scientist keyword. He also has a named keyword. Not going to say the named keyword. It'll instantaneously give who this is away.
Is the named keyword a very popular named keyword?
Not totally, but scientist is a good keyword at the very least.
Okay.
Yeah, so this isn't a super popular figure, so that's why I think most people probably haven't heard of him. So his special attack power he has for all 5 clicks is Manipulate. Can use Leadership. If Leadership would allow you to add an action to your action total, which keep in mind, Leadership automatically gives you an action.
Yeah,
so
it's huge now.
Instead of saying if it succeeds, if it would have said it succeeds, then it would be totally different. But since it says adds action to your action total, this will always go off this special attack power that he has for his entire dial.
Nice find, just on that alone, by the way.
Yeah,
that's beast right there. You know?
You'll probably guess why I thought of this figure once I tell you who it is. But anyways, you can instead put a Manipulate token on this character's card. If there are 2 or fewer Manipulate tokens on the card, when another friendly character would take pushing damage, you can remove a Manipulate token from the card. Roll d6 on a 3/6 character ignores pushing damage.
On a
3/6?
This is just friendly, not adjacent friendly, right?
This is when another friendly character would take pushing damage.
Okay, so anywhere on the map, just hide out in the starting area and do this.
And you're always getting these tokens, so you're probably always going to have 1 on your card. So friendly from pushing damage. You max out at 2, I believe is what it said. There are 2 or fewer, yeah. And then he has a special defense power for his top 2 clicks, which is strategy.
Wait, it says if there are 2 or fewer, add 1.
Yeah, if there are 2 or fewer.
So then it maxes out at 3.
At 3, okay, yeah, 3. You're right, 2 or fewer. Yeah. So then he has special defense power for his top 2 clicks. He can use Perplex and Mastermind, and he can deal damage to friendly characters' higher point value. So it's not actually. This isn't really new, but anyways. He basically has special Mastermind, but it's normal Mastermind for now. But it's anybody with a higher point value who he shares a keyword with. So that's basically normal Mastermind. But it's Perplex and Mastermind. So he also has he has Outwit on his top 2 clicks when he has Perplex and Mastermind. And then once he loses the special defense power, he has Perplex for the rest of his dial. He's only got a 6 movement, 9 attack, 15 defense, 1 damage, but he's a total support figure. Has Outwit and Perplex top dial, Mastermind, and Leadership. And also, he's got outsiders to help. So,
gee whiz. Yeah,
that's what you think you're going to pay for this piece.
And how many points is it again? 63?
63 points.
Man, with the changes to Leadership, here's what I think. This figure probably now should be worth more than what it is. But you're selling me a value here, so it's got to be something pretty cheap. But that's a lot of stuff for 63 points. Outwit, support.
And Perplex. And Mastermind. And Leadership.
And the Outsiders team ability.
Wow. And Outsiders team ability, yeah. Wow.
If that figure came out right now, I would gladly give $2 for it.
Oh, easy.
You're actually very close. This is one of the more expensive figures I've chosen. So.
$250?
Think less. Still less.
Lower.
We're still giving a value.
Okay. $1.75?
All right.
Who is it?
99 cents. It's actually 99 cents with the card.
Wow.
Without the card, for some reason, it's actually $1.25 for some reason. It is.
What? Okay.
I don't get it. So on Cool Stuff, it's 99 cents. They only have one of these, so get in while you can. 3 without the card. It's the Chief. From I don't even know what set this is. Crisis. The Chief from Crisis. His name is Niles Kalder, but it's spelled like a C and a U, and I'm like, huh.
So now we know why you chose him.
Yep, exactly. Niles Kalder. Someone told me to read Doom Patrol, and I'm like, hey, we sort of have the same name. And then I looked up what he had in Heroclix, and I'm like, huh, this is a really good figure. So yep, pick him up for $1. Play him on your Doom Patrol teams. Maybe try him out instead of the new Chief. Try this guy out and see how he works for you.
Man, that's really good for 63 points.
That's, yeah. If that thing came out now, it'd probably be like a super rare prime or something.
Huh.
Exactly. The rarity is. And I did choose him before we talked about who was going to be our casual comparison pick. So I guess we
Sold me. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We have another game or segment on this show, and it's called Casual Comparisons. Calder just mentioned it. We have chosen, we always let our guests come on and pick what character they would like to talk about, and we review 3 versions of that character. They all have to be the same universe version of that character. We're going to cover 3 figures and figure out what we think really epitomizes what we want out of that character. Meaning it matches the flavor. It's not a one-off comic where they picked up a random weapon or something like that. Like, what is the true essence of this character? So our friend Chad has chosen this week for us to talk about Professor X. And this is a really good character to talk about. I really like Professor X. So, Chad, do you want to start us off on the figure that you have chosen?
Yeah, it's this may be depending on whether or not you faced him and if your opponent was nice or not. This may be a figure that you hate more than any other figure, but it could also be one of your favorite figures if you're like me. So this is, let's see, wait, where is it? Which one? The one that, this is the one. Okay, yeah, sorry. I was trying to find it, clicking on it. Okay, so the Professor X that I chose, let me make sure, I did do 008 AVX, right?
That's what I heard, yeah.
That is correct. Okay. So this one has 8 range, triple bolt. He's 150 points. He does not have Endom, but he has improved targeting, ignores hindering terrain, and when he does not have, he has a trait. It's when he does not have 2 action tokens, he can use shape change. So that's already pretty tough right there. But the 150 points come in here. He's got an 11 attack with penetrating psychic blast. He picks up end cap at the end of his dial. First 3 clicks are Pensai, 11, 10, and 10, and then 9 attack for the last 3 clicks with Incapacitate, Outwit, and Super Senses. He's got his special movement power for all 6 clicks, and his special movement power is he can use Mind Control and is not dealt unavoidable damage from it. Opposing characters within range must be given double power actions instead of power actions. That is huge because it's not within range and line of fire. It's just within range. So he can be hiding behind something, hiding behind another figure, and just making your day miserable.
This figure on the right map, if you're playing on a map with like a lot of walls or buildings or anything like that, and you can hide him on the opposite side of a wall from all of your opponents, it's so annoying.
Yeah, and I have a little story about how I use this to make basically ruin my brother's day when we're done with the casual comparisons, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So his defense power, he has it for his top 3 clicks. He also has a special damage power for his top 3 clicks. The defense power is he can use Mastermind, and when he does, he can divide the damage dealt between 2 adjacent friendly characters if they each share a keyword. That is huge if you've got a couple of invulnerability or impervious figures or anything like that where you can take 4 damage, turn it into 2 and 2, and it's basically 0 for those figures unless it's penetrating. It's ridiculous. And then he also has Empower, Enhancement, and Leadership. And when he uses Leadership and succeeds, he can remove up to 1 action token from each adjacent friendly character with the X-Men keyword. Now that part, it makes it very specific to X-Men, but it's really, really good. And I think from the standpoint of like getting a feel for who Xavier is, this is a really, really good effort on their part. And yes, when you combine him with the right people, it can be devastating.
All right.
So,
Calder, who did you choose?
I chose Giant Size X-Men 036 Professor X. The shoot you from the starting zone Professor X. So he also has an 8 range, but only 2 bolts on this figure. He's 123 points, no special combat symbols. Illuminati, New Mutants, Scientists, and X-Men. He's got a trait, in contact with Cerebro. If Professor X is in your starting area, he can draw lines of fire and count range for his speed, attack, and damage powers from any square a friendly character with whom he shares the keyword with.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so, top dial, what he's doing, so if you say you keep him top dial in starting area, he has 6 speed, mind control, 10 attack, pen blast, 16 defense, super senses, 2 damage, outwit. So he got an outwitter stashed away back there and a pen blaster, 8 range, double targets. Later, he gets some perplex, and then down dial when he has willpower, incapacitate, he also has the last 3 clicks, 6 click dial. So his last 3 clicks, he has special damage power. I've learned your secrets. He can use outwit. Once per turn, when he uses outwit to counter a standard power, he may immediately use outwit again, but only to counter the power of the same color. So a bit more situational, but still pretty good. But mostly he was used to just like sit back there and he would just snipe. Like how you got Cyclops, he shoots, and then boom, little follow-up, 10 attack, shoot, snipe, and Professor X working through the X-Men kind of thing.
All right. So the Professor X that I chose is number 34 from the Uncanny X-Men set. Coming in at 70 points with the X-Men team ability, 10 range, 1 bolt. He has the Shi'ar and X-Men keywords. He has 1 trait. It says you don't want to do this. Professor X can use Outwit normally or as a power action. If activated as a power action, he does not require line of fire, and you may attach the mental lock marker to the targeted character. While the mental lock marker is attached, the effect of this outwit doesn't end, and the Professor X can't use outwit. The mental lock marker remains attached as long as that character is within Professor X's range. At the beginning of your turn, you and that character's controller both roll 2d6 that can't be rerolled. If your result is lower, remove the mental lock marker. Only a 4-click long dial. He starts off with 6 speed with mind control. To me, Professor X should always be traded mind control. I don't know why they would print it on his dial. But that's just
I'm with you on that. Yeah. I think that's
He has 10 attack, which is naked, 17 defense with willpower. The first 2 clicks are those powers. The second 2 clicks, he switches to 2 clicks of sidestep and then 2 clicks of defend. His last click is 18 with defend, so that's kind of cool. And then on the last 2 clicks of his life, he has a special damage power called Erase You from Your Enemy's Minds. Professor X and adjacent friendly characters with the X-Men keyword can use shape change if they are not on their starting click. If they succeed using this shape change, no friendly character with the X-Men keyword can be targeted this turn. I don't know how I feel about this character. I really like the sculpt, I'll say that, because it's the old school, him in just a regular wheelchair sculpt, and he's got the marker that you can just run on under his dial until you use it on other people. He does have 10 range with that outwit, and then it's a special outwit, but I've actually used this character before, and I have activated the power action to use outwit a couple times, and without fail, it was just bad luck. Without fail, I always rolled less on the 2d6 than what they rolled, and so it just immediately went away. So it was a waste of my time to do it. So let's go ahead and vote. Kalder, do you want to start us off? Which Professor X do you think epitomizes a Professor X?
So I played a lot of AVX when it started coming out, because that was one of the most fun events I ever had. And this Professor X was so mind-numbingly painful to play against, but I also really loved him because of the Professor X and how he was in that story. So yeah, my vote is for the AVX Professor X.
Okay. Chad, what about you?
Well, I would have to agree with Kalder. That's why I picked it. but yeah, it's I think it's close though. That the one that pings you from the starting area, but this one sort of does the same thing, just needs a little bit more help. There was at a time, for a brief period of time, there was some really awesome help that went away. That's the story I'll tell you. But yeah, I think it's close for the 036 Giant Size X-Men, but I'm going to go with the ABX.
Okay. Well, that's 2 votes for that Professor X, so it doesn't matter what I vote on. But I will say what I think about that Professor X. I really like Professor X as a character. The only thing is, this is probably going to sound horrible, I like my Professor X in a wheelchair. Is that bad? Is that bad to say? Like, original Professor X was in a wheelchair.
I guess there's some validity to that point.
Like,
so
when I was a 90s kid and the 90s X-Men animated series was on, that's what I was growing up with. Professor X was in a wheelchair. It was a hovering wheelchair.
You got to vote for mine then.
But it was still. But I will say this. Professor X as a character, and on numerous occasions, he's been called one of the single most powerful telepaths on the entire planet Earth in Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to put 2 action tokens on other opposing characters, to me, represents Professor X bogging down the mind or the abilities of other characters. And I think that is so flavorful, and I really like it. That figure is fantastic. I still think, even though that set is a little bit dated at this point, 150 points for that figure is still entirely worth it. So, and because I'm a huge Avengers fan and it does have the Avengers keyword, I can play it on my Avengers team. But I will vote for that one as well. So it will be unanimous, and that Professor X from AVX is going to be our Dial H's official Professor Xavier. So, yay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
There you go.
Moving on. Actually, tell us that story, Chad.
Yeah. So my brother and I played a 400-point game, and we just, we kind of just, all right, make a 400-point team. I'll make a 400-point team. This was like a no relics resources tactic, just basically what would be considered limited nowadays. And this was back in the days of pre-errata Tellus. So can you see where I'm going?
Okay.
And also Science Police Officer.
You're a jerk.
The 004 Science Police Officer, tactical deployment, when an opposing character within 8 squares is given a free action, if that character has been given a non-free action this turn, after action is resolved, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. So, you want a running shot and do anything to my people? Want to charge in? Okay. Well, guess what? Before you finish your running, or after you finish your running shot, you're going to take 1 unavoidable. Oh, actually 2 unavoidable, because it was 2 Science Police Officers. This is so dirty. All right, it gets worse. Trust me. So it's 2 Science Police Officers, and they go out and they serve as, they make like basically a Y shape with the Professor X and Tellus. So Professor X is at the bottom of the Y, Tellus is at the top of the Y, and or at the vertex
point
of the Y.
Yeah.
And then you have your 2 Science Police Officers coming off at the top. Well, standing right next to Professor X, but she doesn't really need to stand next to him. She just has to be within 4 squares of Tellus, just like the Professor X and the others, is Hope Summers from Wolverine and the X-Men, copying Professor X's dial as soon as she gets to click 2. So, penetrating psychic blast, the 2 action tokens, power, and the Science Police Officers are just sitting there blowing people up with, so she was taking turns copying, depending on what I wanted to do, copying the Science Police Officers, taking unavoidable. So it was like 2 or 3 unavoidable every time you did anything in there. It was dirty and disgusting, but
you're a horrible person.
But that's what my brother deserves for introducing me to this game, right?
Well, I mean, if he's stealing the penny every game with the Flash, he kind of
That's right. It. You see, that's right. So, that's right. Yeah, I'm trying to run over there and catch the Flash with Batman, and then the other guy is trying to catch both of us with, I don't know, it was like there may have been a Superman in that. It was this really meager collection of characters, but yeah. So, but he will be listening, so I'm sure he will get a chuckle out of hearing that story.
Okay, let's move on real quick. Check out our YouTube channel. Watch our videos. It helps out the podcast. We appreciate that. Also, we are an Amazon affiliate, so if you see links that we post to Twitter and any other places that we post those that go directly to Amazon, if you go to Amazon using that link and you buy things off of Amazon, whatever you buy, it doesn't have to be the link that I provided, but whatever you buy, it actually sends a percentage of that back to Dial H, which helps us run the show, keeps the cost down for us out of pocket. So we really appreciate that, and just keep following that stuff on there. Let's move on to community, and we actually got a couple emails in our mailbag this week. Kalder, do you want to cover the first email that we got?
Yeah, absolutely. And watch Facebook glitch out on me. Here, inbox, there we go. Maybe not.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Wow.
go.
No,
I'll go
actually,
first.
no. Okay. Well, actually, did just get it. So.
Okay.
That's always how it works out, huh?
Yep.
All right. So we got a couple of questions from Malcolm Rush. So first questions. Which Heroclix, which has never been clixed, do you want to clix? Who do you want to make? Never been made before.
Is spawn an option?
Yes! You beat me to it.
I really, really would love to play a spawn. The only thing is, oh man, I'm blanking out on the creator of Spawn. What's his name? McFarlane?
Tim McFarlane. Yeah. Todd
McFarlane
McFarlane. Yeah.
And understandably so. He loves his creation that is Spawn so much that over the years he's caught so much flack over what people can do with the Spawn, what people can't do with Spawn. I've heard stories about him micromanaging the living crap out of anything that anybody tries to do with Spawn, to the point where it actually, like, people think that the dude's kind of insufferable. So if they did ever make a Spawn Heroclix, McFarlane would be there telling them exactly how to make it, and it would be the most overpowered figure in the history of the game, because I honestly don't think McFarlane would let it be anything other than that. He'd be like, make it 50 points and have 14 attack and 7 damage, and like that. It would be that level. So I would love to see a Spawn get made into a Heroclix, but it's never gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because there's one of our guys here that does customs, and he took Hellspont and took that cape and painted it red, and I'm trying to remember what other figures, but he put together, and he did like this little super glue trick where he like hung a little tiny piece of chain from like a necklace or something, and super glued link by link.
I think that I have seen this figure linked online before. Like if you type in, maybe, I mean, keep going, but I'm gonna see if I can find.
Yeah, I don't know, but he basically took the hung it sideways basically, and like made each link to where basically this chain he super glued link by link and let it hang and freeze in that spot, and then just went link by link to make the chain just kind of have like this wave to it as it suspends out from his hands.
What dial did he put on it?
I don't remember.
Dang it.
I don't remember. I just remember him putting the thing together. He may have had like a Venom or something that he used as the base sculpt for it, and then he put that Hellspont cape on it. I don't remember exactly. And what's ironic about that is that, I made a custom set of Ninja Turtle Heroclix about 6 months before they announced that they were coming out with Ninja Turtle Heroclix. And mine were awesome.
Not to toot your own horn.
I even got thematic, like one of them was Elektra, one of them was Shang-Chi. I mean, it was like it was some really good thematic. They worked as Ninja Turtles, and
right so what would you make? What's your answer to Malcolm Rush's question?
Well, yeah, you stole mine. It was Spawn, but and I don't know, and we just did Howard the Duck. That was cool. But I don't know. Was there a Howard the Duck before?
Yeah, there was. Secret Invasion.
There was. Okay. Yeah, that was before my time. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I can come up with a figure that's never been clixed that I.
So what you're saying is
apart from
Spawn,
Switzler,
right?
Apart from Spawn, yeah,
whatever
you say.
Beverly Switzler. That's Howard the Duck's like chick he hangs out with most of the time in comics.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who would you make, Kalder?
Yeah.
Oh, Kite Man, hell yeah.
Who?
Kite Man,
What is that?
Kite Man, hell yeah. He is. Have you read? You got to say hell yeah after you say his name every time.
Kite Man, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, exactly. You got it. If you need to read the War of Jokes and Riddles by Tom King. He's like this D-list Batman villain who, like, his only power is that he has, like, a paragliding, like, kite thing strapped to his back. But he becomes a really important character. He was, like, in the Lego movie. That's how D-list he was. They had him, like, pop in for 2 seconds.
So,
But, like, there's this really cool... Yeah.
If we get a Condiment King, there's actually a possibility of getting Kite Man, hell yeah.
Kite Man. Thanks, see, you got it.
Yeah,
but there's this
Condiment
awesome...
King and Crazy Quilt in the same set, right?
Yep.
I mean, for crying out loud. When the Lego Batman movie is making fun of it, saying, "Yep, these are actual characters," and then they clicks them. Then they clicks them.
Yep.
Well, then hell yeah, why not Kite Man?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep going. Well, there's this point in comics where he actually is carrying Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze is like just shooting. So I wanted like a Kite Man, hell yeah, that would carry people and make them like range combat attacks or whatever, like during the carry, because it's just so awesome. Like Mr. Freeze is just like shooting down on the street. I'm like, oh, this is badass. So yeah.
I will say this, just a secondary answer. I am a huge fan of the Squadron Supreme. So any Squadron Supreme members that they haven't clicked that they could, like Amphibian or Golden Archer or any of those, like that would be fine with me. You could just rip the dials off of like Green Arrow or Aquaman. I don't care. just give me a sculpt of like those guys. That would be sweet.
All right. Second part of the question, because this is like a 3-part question. Which Heroclix do you use as a substitute for an unclicks character?
Oh, I actually don't. I don't do that.
I used crud. What was the as a Krang substitute for my Ninja Turtles Heroclix? I used the what was the celebrity, the TV glob on for Wolverine and the X-Men?
Dupe?
No, it's the yellow guy.
Yeah.
No, I can't think of his name.
I can't think of the name, but anyway, that's who I used. Whatever her name was, it was a female, wasn't it? I don't remember if it was a female.
Oh, Moria MacTaggart? No.
No. This is the. Hang on just a second. I'll get it right here. What's her name? Where are you?
Strife.
I thought she was a rare, but maybe she was a super rare.
Kalder, while he's looking for that, why don't you tell us?
Go ahead.
So I like to play thematic games. So I was running Captain America Corps, like one of my favorite comics. They don't have 2 members of that team, which is the whatever. I can't think of her name. Miss America, which is an American Dream. They didn't have American Dream or the Captain America from the future, which is like the something Morales Captain America. So I just used the old Isaiah Bradley cap for him, but for American Dream I used Diamondback, and actually it's a pretty cool little repaint I did to give her blonde hair and whatever. I made Diamondback from the Captain America set.
And you guys are making me feel so uncreative. Like I don't mod anything or paint anything. I just run this podcast now. That's all I can.
Mojo, by the way, was the name of the character. Yeah, the Mojo verse. So yeah, it was.
That was your Krang.
Yeah, that was my Krang. Yeah, and then the spider bots were my what you would call it?
Mausers.
The Mausers. Yeah, the Mausers.
Right,
yeah.
nice.
All right, what's the third part of this question?
Which comic book characters do you think WizKids will never clicks, and why?
Spawn. No, that's too easy. Here's my real answer to that. I don't think that they'll ever clicks many of the Squadron Supreme. I think we probably got all of the Squadron Supreme that we're going to get. They had that good run for a while where there was one coming out in like every set, one, and I was okay with it. And then how many sets have come out now where they stopped? I mean,
yeah.
Even the sets that there are primes in, and then they had the opportunity to make them, and then they just chose not to. So I really don't think that we're ever going to get any more unless they just remake the ones that we already have. So we're always going to get like Hyperion. We're always going to get the Wizard, or not the Wizard. What's his name? Blur? God, I can't remember now.
Yeah, or was it Dr. Spectrum?
Yeah, Dr. Spectrum. So yeah, I don't have Hyperion.
Yeah.
What about you, Chad?
don't think we'll ever have Star Wars.
Yeah, probably not.
I've thought that would be cool, or Transformers, but I don't know. Maybe Transformers is more likely because that actually. I've always thought it was weird to try to figure out a way to make Star Trek and or Star Wars work, because so much of that of both of those, you have people. Sometimes there's some hand-to-hand combat and force blasting and whatnot, but there's so much of it that's fought in the air with spaceships. That how do you make those two things merge together without making it just really stupid? It's one thing to have the Punisher van. It's another thing to have like a Star Destroyer against like, I don't know, some like Yoda just sitting there on the ground.
Like the Enterprise is attacking like Darth Maul, and you're like, what? No.
Right. It's just totally not fair.
Although a Darth Maul Heroclix would be completely awesome.
Oh, it would be great. Yeah.
What do you think, Kalder?
I doubt it ever happens.
For like specifically comic books, we're probably not going to get Walking Dead figures because they're just like people with guns. Mm-hmm. But I still feel like they'd be really cool.
I think that's actually more realistic, because if the Undead series can happen, I think there's totally a built-in avenue for something like that to happen, where you could have, an army of zombies, and then you could have like these different little factions, and it's all just like the Undead set is. It's all a close combat and quirky game mechanic sort of setup that I think would totally work. It would just be a matter of I think more of the question comes down to rights than it does to actually
it's probably
the functionality of the game. Whereas the Star Trek and Star Wars thing, I've always thought, just from a functionality standpoint, it seems very like it'd be tortured to try to make everybody happy with what's there and still make it work. Walking Dead would work really well.
As far as the rights for The Walking Dead specifically, from what I know about Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead, if someone out there didn't know that at this point, but he's pretty cool. And I think that if WizKids would actually take the time to contact Kirkman or his PR people or whatever and ask, I think that might be a possibility. Certainly more of a possibility than some of the other stuff. Like Spawn will never happen, but Walking Dead could. I mean, they've already done.
No, and they're totally
comics.
all about. Yeah, I was going to say they're all about. They're totally like all about merchandising and everything else. And this would be just another way to. I mean, there's nothing.
Is also
there's nothing wrong with trying to make a little bit of money on the side.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman is also the creator of Invincible, and they've made Invincible Heroclix. Now they're really old now, and they're not good now, but there's your precedent. And they could do
there you go. There you go.
So, all right. That's all for his email.
Yep.
Okay. We got one from, I really hope I'm saying your last name correctly. Bossarge, Davey Bossarge. He says, hey guys, I've been listening to Dial H since 2014, I think. I've seen it go through lots of changes, as have y'all. I just wanted to say that you're doing a great job in making a podcast worthy of the name. A couple of questions for you. Actually, let's stop right there. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah, for real.
My heart.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah, and I second that emotion as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's been fun.
So his question is, or the first one, what figure in Modern would you have WizKids do over?
Jakeem Thunder.
I was going to say Goblin King.
They already did him over.
I know.
They did him over hard and royally. It was bad. They made him Goblin Princess or something. I don't know. It was bad. He went from Goblin King to Goblin Surf.
I don't know if there's any figures recently that. Oh, he says it can be a figure that's too good, one that's not good enough, or one that just misses the character somehow.
Yeah, Killer Moth.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. I might second that.
On the other side, of that spectrum, yeah.
Here's one that I don't understand.
Just garbage.
Ironheart, maybe.
That one's a little weirdly broken.
Like, she's weird. Why did they make it the way that they made it? She should have just been basically an Iron Man ripoff. And when you look at the dial, that's not an Iron Man ripoff.
Yeah, and why is it that we're so much more likely to see Ironheart on a team that wins Worlds than we are to see a War Machine on a team that wins Worlds.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like it's,
a Peace Machine, maybe. War Machine, no.
They almost always have War Machine with like no Endom, or there's something that like just makes it to where it's like, man, really? Like, I want to play this piece, but there's like 50 other pieces that I would play ahead of it.
I've actually read comics with Riri Williams in it, and I like Riri, but this doesn't seem like Riri to me. I don't think that they nailed the character at all, and it almost kind of makes me wonder if they even knew who she was at this point. So, I don't know. The second question is, what is a mechanic you'd like to see WizKids use more of? What about one do you like to see less of?
Clicks effects.
That was
I'd like to see more of, for
that
sure.
was gonna be my
I hope it comes back. I hope they. I mean, it's just I don't mind resource. One of the things I don't know if it's you guys or because I listen to a few different podcasts but I think I listen religiously to yours too. So I do a lot of driving. So anyway, but I like the fact that resources made it to where the meta for a period of time was very diverse. Now, granted, you might have had, everybody had some form of battery on their team, but they also had like the teams that were showing up were very diverse because you could squeeze a little bit more out of characters that might surprise people. I think while that's cool, I think what the game is always, to me, more true to like its nature when everything's on the map. And that's why I love Clicks Effects, because it's one of those things that it's on the card, it's on the character, and you may move it to a different character or something like that, but it's not like these things where resources or even like the ID cards. I like the fact that they brought in characters, but then when they started doing the stuff with like the level 7 where you can just bring anybody who has that keyword, and Nick Fury is just like automatic, 5 point whenever you want to just murder somebody, boom, there it is. That stuff is much more easy to abuse than the Clicks Effects stuff is. The Clicks Effects is just, it's a really, really well-designed game dynamic that I wish they would use more of and come back to.
Calder?
I really just kind of have to second Clicks Effects. I love that idea so much. Like, ever since they started doing like the Deadpool word bubbles and then like that stuff, I'm like, I want to see more of this. And then they did Clicks Effects, and I'm like, this is exactly what I want to see. So I don't want them to stop with that. They like haven't made one since Deadpool, and that was like the Super Chase or whatever. I want more Clicks Effects. I love ID cards. And I also love the traits that they started doing, like in Nick Fury with the Hydra and the Shield traits. I love those like synergy traits like that. So keep up with that stuff.
That was gonna be my the only thing I had left to say. I do third the Clicks Effects. Those are really cool. I wish they would make more different ones. Just to add more spice to the game, so you're not always seeing the slash marker. Yeah,
we don't. Yeah, I was gonna say we don't need 7 slash markers. We can. I love some of them, like we were talking about before, the Hex Magic. That was a cool one.
I would like to see more of those thematic theme traits. Those are so cool to me, especially like the ones that impressed me most recently have been. What are those? The Defenders ones? They were like the...
Oh, yeah.
Like, those are just cool to me. I like them.
Are you talking about the one where you get to choose a 10 attack minimum or the wild card deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Defenders, right?
It'd be way... Yeah.
Marvel
it would be
Knights.
way cool. Marvel Knights, yeah. It would be way cooler, though, if they didn't ruin Mystics. Because that was one of the things that I had built. It was like a multiple Jessica Jones and Purple Man, and I had Dormammu on that team, so it was just, all right, I copied this, now I copy Mystics. And so now I can't copy Mystics, and I can only copy one thing per turn. What the hell? It just ruined my...
the more I hear about your teams, the more I never want to play against you. Wow.
This was really fun. I also had Peace Machine so that you couldn't kill Jessica Jones unless you
Oh!
you had to hit her twice. So yeah.
All right, let's move on a little bit to we put a question out usually weekly called the Community Question. I know it's real original. On Twitter, also on Facebook. So let's just read down some of those results going back and forth with Kalder. And the community question this week was, if you could remake any modern set, which would you remake and what would you do differently? So we got Chris Kurtz says ADW, more defenders, and bring back the power pack, which I had to ask him, like, why do you want the power pack? And he's like, it was the first comic series I got a full run of, and the last ones were also bad, or like were bad. And I'm like, okay, all right, so it's a nostalgia thing for him. You do you.
Power pack. All right. James Peters on Facebook. What if? And he'd make it good. So that's fair.
Make it good.
Yeah, that's a well put.
This might be Davey, like the same guy that we just read the email. He said, "What if? I'd like to see more actual what if stories represented, and in my fantasy world, also have X-Men and Fantastic Four available." Yes, sir. Agreed.
Absolutely. Ricky Joe White, definitely what if. Unfortunately, due to Marvel's licensing suspension with the X-Men and Fantastic Four, the players lose what could have been an amazing set. So that's almost a ditto there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I know Ricky. Ricky's a good guy. Cody Williams said the TMNT 3, I would put more unclicked characters in it, probably mostly mutanimals, which, I watched the Nickelodeon show, and I really liked that show, and I don't know why they made some mutanimals and not others. So, and I would have much rather had fewer of the resculpts.
Yeah, we need Geico Gecko on a skateboard, definitely.
Yeah, we do.
That's a needed thing.
Mondo, dude.
Mondo Gecko. Brian Pulling. What if it was a Stephen Pyle of reused sculpts that was basically 3 characters? I mean, I love Daredevil, Thor, and Iron Man, I guess. Like
Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Iron Man, they only made like 2 of them, but Thor, Spider-Man, and Daredevil were everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Chad, you're really going to like this answer from Brandon David. Deadpool and X-Force. Less Deadpool.
Less Deadpool. Yeah, except for the shifting focus stuff. I didn't understand why they had as much shifting focus and then still had other Deadpools. Not including the chases. I think the chases was a cool little spin-off of it, but within the main set to have other Deadpools that were not shifting focus, it's I don't know. But yeah, I can understand that because they had just, what was it, a couple of years ago we had the other full Deadpool set, the first Deadpool set that was pretty Deadpool heavy. So as much as I love Deadpool, I can't exactly argue against that.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I love 3 different bunny slipper Deadpools, much to the next guy, but
yeah, that was
fairly different.
Yeah. Well, all they did was, what did they just change that trait?
Change the keyword.
Which keyword they get to help out with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which keyword they get to help out? It's like, really, we don't need. God, you can just, can that be just a thing that you choose at the beginning of the game instead, and we can just have one, so I don't have to. Just. Yeah. Some of those things. That's the thing that's maddening about this, is that they'll do something like that, but then they'll have other pieces that are like legit generics that you would like to have multiples of them, and you'll get like 2 in a case, but I'll get 3. I'll get 3 of the rare bunny slipper Deadpools, and 2 of them are the one with the same keyword.
Oh jeez. So on Facebook, Christopher Smotherman, War of Light, except each character with the Lantern keyword would also have the construct trait. That trait was on too few figures, and then I had to remind him that it's not modern. But that's okay. And he's like, first time in 3 years, Dial H responds to one of my posts, and I messed it up. Like, that's all right. War of Light definitely could have had more people with construct trait. We agree with you.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because there were only like 5 or something in that whole set, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was all the primes, then the LEs, and that was it.
Yeah, whatever.
And then when they did the White Lanterns, they came out. Did those have the same thing? Didn't they?
No.
The White Lantern ones.
They had constructs.
They had the little slot. They had the slot on their dial, the Martian Manhunter and
Baz, Martian Manhunter, and some of it was a girl.
Jade.
Okay. Nick Pitt said ADW and actually makes sense of the shifting focus. Yep.
Yeah.
Nicholas Adam Wolfong, Hammer of Thor. He would add Colossals, though, weapons. He would drop Daredevil, Runaways, Guardians of the Galaxy. He had Eternals and Wrecking Crew and Hulk. So he basically just described the Mighty Thor.
The Mighty Thor set.
So,
they did remake it. Good job, WizKids. Coach Stepp said, definitely what if that set had so much potential, but I feel like it left a lot on the table. Yep.
it did.
Did you guys feel like Elseworlds was just? I don't know if they just put more time into it, or I don't know what happened, but it seems like Elseworlds was much more.
I think that there probably wasn't a rights issue.
Maybe.
And with DC, so they actually got to pick the characters that they wanted to pick.
Yeah.
Because how many What If X-Men sets or X-Men characters could have been made in place of the garbage that we got in What If?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so back to what we were talking about before we started. This is like a. Obviously, we're sitting here. We've been talking for 2 hours about Heroclix. We love the game. We'd like to see some things done better, but sometimes some of the criticism isn't even WizKids' fault. It's what they're limited to by some of the licensing and rights and stuff like that. So it makes me wonder, how much of this is to frustration directed at them versus frustration directed just at like the circumstances.
Yeah. Last guy on Facebook, James Martin, Elseworlds. He would use alternate versions that people actually give a crap about. So that was a bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hey, someone actually said Elseworlds.
Matthew Ryan said Legion of Superheroes. Lower point values all around. Seriously, what Legion fields 2 to 4 characters max in any normal game? Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't sound like a Legion to me. Collectibles said redo Avengers Defenders War almost entirely. No Sculptor use. More Defenders. More classic 60s, 70s villains. I can agree with that because there are so many unclicked figures.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Seth Aaron. Undead. More iconic monsters. Make it a bigger set. Make Frankenstein's monster and Ghost Abe a super rare and have Van Helsing as the only chase. Man, I miss Van Helsing. That's a cool character.
That'd be cool.
Greg Miller said redo Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Mantis without mind control. Was he ST with hypersonic speed? Was that not Star-Lord? I don't know what that is. Sovereign should have made Eva type Pogs, and Taserface must have range. Okay? And then the last one I have is...
Yeah.
My favorite Twitter name as of this moment is J Ward Lizard Pants. Says Joker's wild, but only really because there should have been the Royal Flush Gang in there. Man, when was the last time they made the Royal Flush Gang?
Ways back. That might have been like Justice League or something. I don't know. It's been a while.
I have no idea. Okay, that's all the answers that we got on Twitter and Facebook, guys. Thank you. We appreciate you sending those in. Moving on in the community, we bring back superfan status, so make sure you're liking our tweets and liking our Facebook posts and answering and email us in and stuff like that. That's what the mailbag is for. So please do that, and yeah, that would be great. Give us ideas for the value corner, things for hidden gems, casual comparisons, etc., etc. So I think we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. You can find us at DialH4, the number 4, at DialH4 Heroclix on Twitter. We are at DialH4 Heroclix on YouTube, DialH4 Heroclix at gmail.com if you want to email us. Closing thoughts, do you guys have anything you want to talk about?
I think I'm good. I think we had like awesome questions this week, guys. Keep writing into the mailbag because you guys have really good stuff, and I love answering questions. So yeah.
Chad, I thought you had something.
I was gonna say, well, I just I don't know, the game itself is really fun, and I know Kalder, you probably think I'm a jerk with some of the team names some of the teams that I've discussed here, but it's not always about that. My brother and I have also done some stuff. He's come up with some really cool. We basically do like these D&D style. He's got a scenario built, and it just goes through, and it's designed for us to ultimately win it, and so my son and I play with him with that stuff, and some really cool concepts. There's all kinds of things that you can do with this. It's not just limited to the meta or the competitive scene. There's some really cool scenarios that you can come up with, and I just encourage people to try to do that. And also we have a guy here that's that locally that started a cool thing for us, and I'm sure there are probably multiple different venues, because I know you guys are an Amazon affiliate. This might work out well for you guys too. That what he does is he's started to allow us to continue to grow our community by taking what stuff people have in their closets and stuff like that, commons and uncommons that they're not using anymore or not using at all, and he takes them and tries to find a home for them through Amazon, and he basically pays for the new stuff that we get, and just asks us to pay him in Heroclix. So just trying to kind of keep basically his objective is keep clicks moving, because people are looking for some of these pieces, and try to help find homes for them. So it's almost like a clicks adoption program, but it helps to get us going with our events here, and get some people in who may not have all the funds to do it on a routine basis.
That's good.
So they can play more often.
To piggyback on that, and this goes for everybody that is out there. If you play this game long enough, everybody ends up with this huge collection of stuff that you don't have time to play. You never get to use it anymore. And what better way to get a bunch of people into the game and have people that you can play with on a regular basis? Just start giving people some clicks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I mean,
that's actually one of the ways that we got started with our community here. We went to our first little tournament, and they had basically like a Learn Heroclix weekend, and at the time I thought, oh my gosh, this is incredible. These guys are just giving us stuff. And then you realize later that it's a little, as you play it for 5 or 6 years, it gets a little easier to let go of stuff, because it's stuff that you've played and you don't. Sure. But yeah, why not let somebody else get some enjoyment out of it? My son was, I think he's 6 or 7 years old, got his first Superman HeroClick, and he was just floored because it was Superman, and probably wasn't worth a whole lot of money, but to him it was like a gold mine. So yeah, it's huge, and it helps to foster bringing people into the game and learning the game, and it's much more fun when you have a big community that enjoys playing together than it is when you're just playing the same people over and over again, 2 or 3 people.
The last thing that I have, I finally bit the bullet and spent a bunch of money buying my Fin Fang Foom. That I've always wanted one.
Beautiful.
And I finally did it, and it's coming in the mail. I can't wait to get it. So I'll send a picture of it out on Twitter. Not like you can't look it up anyway, but this one is mine.
I have one. I did the same thing probably a couple of years ago. It's a gorgeous figure to have displayed.
I'm one of those people that even if with these colossals, especially the older ones, because how large they are, if you just want to use it as a statue in your house and look at it, like that's okay to me. Like that's why I'm fine.
But speaking of those scenarios and stuff, it is a really good scenario piece. You can get like a group of friends together, and you can actually play against Fin Fang Foom, and there are rules that are just like the Fin Fang Foom basically plays itself, and everyone in the room is basically like a boss fight in a video game where you're co-oping to try to beat him, and he's a tough cookie, but even against some of the modern figures, he's still a tough cookie, but it's a blast. And I highly recommend it.
I'm looking forward to playing it. So thank you very much, Chad, for coming on. This is something that we as Dial H wanted to start doing, is just getting more people on the podcast, especially listeners, to be able to interact with our community. So look out in the future. If you are a listener and you want to be on, we're creating a queue of people to get on the show, and we're going to keep running with that because it's fun, and we like meeting you guys. So really, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah,
thank you.
Really awesome
thank you guys so much for having me. No, this was awesome to be. Like I said, been a listener for a long time, and you guys have done a great job over the years. And Austin and Hunter too, and Drew back in the day. But you're doing a great job now, Kris and Kalder, and I'm honored to be here as one of the first guests since you guys took it over, and look forward to listening in the future.
Well, we're gonna keep going. So we thank you, man. Kalder, do you want to read us out?
Yeah, absolutely. Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
All right, bye guys. See you next time.
Bye.
My stuff.